I'm going to be showing how to use Google Sheets to make a simple data results table. And the sample table we're going to make is the one appropriate for the first lab this semester, the Scientific Measurements and Calculations lab. The first thing you'll need, because Google Sheets and Google Docs are all done in the cloud, is you'll need a Google account. If you don't have one, you can set one up for free at accounts.google.com. If you already have your account, go ahead and log into it. And best to use the Chrome browser, which is the Google browser. I'm already logged in here. So when I come into my browser URL line, type in sheets.google.com. That will take me to the spreadsheet page. Once that opens, what you'll see along the top here are several canned formats that you could use. The first one being the most useful one, the blank format. And then down below, you'll see a list of spreadsheets that you've created previously. So for this, I'm going to start over. So I'm going to create a fresh spreadsheet. So I'll go to a blank. What you'll see when this opens is something really akin to exactly what you'd see in Excel. Each of the columns is given a letter, A, B, C, D, E, etc. Each of the rows is given a number. So this first cell would be cell A1. The cell next to it is cell B1, cell C1, etc. The next row would be cell A2, and so forth. Within each of these cells, you can type a text label, you can type a number, or you can type a formula, which will do a mathematical calculation for you. So I'm going to show you how to do each of those in addition to some simple formatting. So for this particular table, I'm going to label our data results rows, just data and results. And then since for some of our data we had 4 trials, I'm going to type in my column headings, trial 1, trial 2, trial 3, trial 4. Now, if at the end of typing a cell you hit the Tab key, it will move to the cell immediately to the right, which is what I did here. Or if when you're done, you hit the Enter key, it will go to the cell down below. Now for this particular column A, which is where all my labels are going to go, some of them will be a little bit long. So I'm going to change the width of that column. So I'll go click on the letter A at the top and then move my cursor to the edge of that column till I see that double arrow. Then I can click and drag with my mouse to increase the width of that column. So let's type in the first few data labels. I'll show you how that works. So first is for my burette, the starting volume of water in burette, and that's units of milliliters. I want to put the units in my label rather than in the numbers. Since if I'm going to do a formula using the numbers, I need to have just pure numbers in each of these number columns. If I have a data label of milliliters or grams or something else, then Google Sheets won't recognize it as a formula number and won't allow you to do any math with that. So my starting point with the burette was 0, so 0.00. And what you'll immediately see, as on your calculator, any number that ends with a decimal or 0 right of the decimal, it will make it disappear. So I will need to change that. So I go up here and I have one selection to increase the number of decimal places. I'll click on that twice. I could decrease decimal places by using this one instead, so that way. I want to keep 2 decimal places, so I'll put that here. My next label is ending volume of water. Ending volume of water in burette. Again, units of milliliters. For me, that was 40.88. Yours will be different. And then finally, since we dispensed into the graduated cylinder, I want to do the graduated cylinder reading next. So volume of water in graduated cylinder. Units. Oops. If you actually mistype something in a cell and you want to get out of it, just hit the escape key. So now I want to go in here and add something to edit a cell. Go and click up here in the formula line. So now I can add on to that cell, and I put in my milliliters. If I try to just type in the milliliters, you'll see it just starts over. So that's not good. So I'm going to escape out of that. Now for me, it was 41.0. And again, Sheets is going to drop that 0. So I'll need to come back and add it in. So for you to properly display significant figures with Google Sheets or Excel, you're going to have to work whenever it drops a 0 or changes the number of decimal places that it shows. Now, for the next one is my mass of my empty beaker. I did have 4 trials here. So mass of empty 50 ml beaker. Units were grams. Mine were 25.83 or 8583. 25.8581. 25.8582, and then 25.8585. So those worked out fine. Now from here, rather than have you watch me type in a bunch of data, I'm going to do what they do on those cooking shows, and I'll show you the finished product, and then we'll move on to show you how to do formulas and finish off your table with formatting. So let me move over here to my finished table, and you can see that I've gone ahead and typed in the mass of 50 milliliter beaker plus water, and then I took the difference between those to get the mass of just the water. I did an average. Here's my temperature data, my density, and my volume calculations. I left a couple of cells blank to show you how to do formulas. Now below here is my data with the polymer bead, so I start over with data results again, now only 1 trial this time, and I have mass before heating, diameter before heating, volume of bead before heating, density before heating, and then everything after with my percents down below. Now let's come back here and see how to do some formulas, because these are really useful if you want to save time in letting Google Sheets do the math for you. Got to come up here and add a 0 there. I lost it. Now, this particular cell, the mass of water in the beaker is just simply this column, this cell, minus the results in that cell. So to show that, I have my entry here, but I'm going to go ahead and edit that and show the formula. And I'll retype the formula. The way you type a formula is to always start off with an equal sign. If you leave that out, Google Sheets will simply think you're typing text. So equals, and the math I want to do is this formula, or this entry. So I'll just click on the cell. And what that means is use this particular cell entry as my number. And then my operator is minus, and then that cell. And I hit enter, and the calculation is done for me. If I want to copy that formula into the adjacent cells, I can just click on that cell, come up here to edit, copy, and now I can get the results in each of these cells. The same thing will happen now using the numbers in the respective columns, and then just edit and paste. So once you get used to doing formulas in Google Sheets, it will be very beneficial. Again, sometimes you'll have to adjust the number of decimal places, so let's come up here and do that. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to do a couple of functions. The first is the average. I've gone ahead and calculated my 4 volumes based on the mass and the density. To get an average, that's a built-in function in Google Sheets, so I type equals, and then the word average, a left parentheses. Now I'm going to go click and drag across the 4 cells that I want to average. Type a right paren and hit enter. And it gave me the proper number of significant figures, so I'm very good there. This one's going to be super useful. This is a standard deviation. That is equals, and the function is stdev, left paren. I want to take a standard deviation of these same 4 cells, so click and drag across, close the paren, and type enter. And once again, it's kept the correct number of significant figures here. You may need to change that in your calculation. The last thing I'm going to show is how to do a calculation and set a percent. Down here, one of the calculations you'll need to do is the percent change in diameter of your polymer bead. So let's go scroll down a little bit so we can see that. So to get the percent change in diameter, the formula for that is the difference of the diameter after minus the diameter before divided by the diameter before. So here equals, I'll need a parentheses. This is the diameter of the polymer bead after, so there's that cell, I'll click on that, minus the diameter of the bead before, there's that, close the paren, and then divide by the diameter before, so click on that same cell, and I'll hit enter. What I'll see is my percent, and I had already formulated that this is a percent, but I'll show you how to change the number formatting. If you want to change the number formatting, come up here in this icon 1, 2, 3, click on the little drop down menu, and then just go select percent, which I did. I want to keep only 3 significant figures there, so I'll have to move that decimal place a couple to the left. So again, just hit enter and I'm done. All right, the last thing I'll show you how to do is some simple formatting. If I want to make my column headings in bold text, I'll just select all of those, come up here and click on the bold. And if I want to add grid lines, I can select all the cells for which I want to add grid lines. I can come up here to this little icon and again click to create a drop-down menu and select the selection for adding all the grid lines. Another thing I can do is to add shading to my columns. Since these don't have any entry, if I want to just shade them gray, I'll select all of those, come up here to this little paint box, which is the fill color, click here and I can select a gray color. I can do that for these guys as well, so we'll do a gray color for those two. And on that, and then the last, same thing for these guys. All right, so that's everything you'll need to know. The nice thing about Google Sheets is it will auto-save for you, but you will need to type in a name. Now, I already have my name up here, but to rename, go in here and just click on everything. You can name it whatever you want, or if you go into the File menu, you can select Rename, and you'll get the name that you want. So once you've typed in the name, you can simply exit or close, and this will be saved into your Google account. When you open Google Sheets again, you'll find that particular spreadsheet there. All right, so good luck, and I'll see your lab reports when you turn them in next week.